Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Would everybody please rise? And Councilman Lombardi, would you lead us this evening?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just remain standing for a moment of silence to remember those men and women who fight around the world to provide us with the blanket of freedom that we live under each and every day.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Okay, welcome once again, everyone, and welcome all of you that are home watching the meeting this evening to this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Today's date is Wednesday, January 27th, 2016, and tonight's meeting is a Town Board work session. And just for the record, Councilman Schneider will not be joining us this evening. He has a personal matter that he's attending to. And Councilwoman McDonough also has a prior obligation that was a conflict with her for this evening, and she may join us, but she may not before the end of the meeting. But if you see her come in, it's because she was able to meet with us. So let's get started. We have our town council, Greg Fulchetti, is all the way down to my left. And yeah, I know. I don't know if that would be a promotion or not, though, Greg. And our town comptroller, Mary Ann Maxwell, is in the audience with us, and she will be joining us for a couple of agenda items as we go forward tonight. So first, at 6:15 p.m. this evening, the town board met in executive session with Mary Ann Maxwell, the town comptroller, to discuss contractual retention issues. And so the first item on the agenda tonight is the review of town board minutes of January 6th, 2016. Does any board members have any questions regarding the minutes of January 6th? No. Okay, there being none, we'll go on to agenda item number 2. This is to consider additions to the active list of the Carmel Volunteer Fire Department. We have a memo here from the fire department to Ann Spofford. Dear Mrs. Spofford, the following people have been added to the Carmel Fire Department as probationary members: Andrea Gutierrez and Amanda Jashalecki, both from Carmel, New York. Respectfully submitted, Robert Lipton, is Second Assistant Chief of the Carmel Fire Department. Any questions or comments with respect to the new members being added to the Carmel Fire Department? Okay. There being none, we'll go on to number 3, John Fulchetti, P.E. He's the Town of Carmel engineering consultant, John. And John is here to discuss with us to consider awarding of a bid for the replacement of roof at Carmel Sewer District Number 7 wastewater treatment plant. John?
All right, so you have the evaluation and recommendation for award in front of you. We received one bid for the roof replacement. 8 different contractors took out bid documents. Of the 8, 7 were pure roofers. The 8th was a wastewater treatment plant type of a contractor. And our chief concern during the pre-bid meeting and the pre-bid walkthrough was the maintenance of operations at the plant. Only the contractor who has a familiarity with wastewater treatment plants submitted the bid. It was a total of $203,872.47 for the complete removal and replacement of the roof at Sewer 7, along with maintenance of plant operations. We believe that they're qualified to do the work. We've worked with them before. All of the people who have worked with them before are in concurrence with our opinion or our experience that they're a good contractor who knows what they're doing around plants. And consequently, we recommend that the project be awarded to TAM Enterprises in the amount shown.
Okay, and John, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not at this point. I did have a conversation late this afternoon with Lori Glassman from Spade Agency with respect to the claim that we had submitted to NYMER for consideration for coverage on this, because this was partially contributed was the snow load on the roof, and that is reflected in an engineer's report from NYMER that may have been the case. So Lori Glassman did indicate to me that NYMER will be covering a percentage of the loss. That's yet to be determined. They're still negotiating that amount, but there will be some monies that we'll be able to collect through our insurance company towards this claim and the damage on the roof. So I guess when we do determine whatever that number is, we can apply it towards the cost of the repairs to it. So
Good.
just wanted to make sure that you were bringing up to speed, that you were aware of that. But those conversations occurred late this afternoon. I wasn't able to get that information out to you. But Rich Franzetti and Rob Vara from the engineering department are also aware that that discussion took place with Ms. Glassman. Okay,
Do you have any questions about the evaluation?
board members, anything? Frank?
Just, it's one bid.
Just one, that's
Yeah,
correct.
no, I'm saying it's hard to compare it to anything else, it's just one bid.
There's not a comparison, but like I thought that I explained,
No,
there was 8
yeah,
guys.
I understand.
None of them have ever worked in a plant,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, our biggest threat during a demo of this thing is damage to the inside of the plant. And if that happens, then we have much, much larger problems than a roof failure.
Regulatory.
Right.
So whatever's not covered in the claim, which I believe it will probably be the significant amount of this, I don't think it's, if we recover a quarter of, or a third of what this is, the total cost, the repairs will be borne by that district. And this is Carmel Sewer District Number 7. Residents will be, paying for this, repairs to this district. So, all right, John.
Thank you.
There's no other questions, and thanks, John. Appreciate it. Okay, next item on the agenda, number 4, Mary Ann Maxwell. Mary Ann is here for 4 and 5.
You need to do borrowing authorization.
What's that?
Borrowing authorization for that.
Yes,
Borrowing
yeah.
authorization for that.
Yeah, that will require borrowing authorization,
Right.
So hopefully within the next couple of days, or maybe early next week, we will have an answer from NYMER with respect to what they're going to cover
Probably
regarding the loss.
authorize it all, and if you're.
On whatever is,
Borrow it all. Yeah. So you
can be reimbursed back
because
to the,
until the borrowing authorization is in
Got it.
place and the estoppel periods run,
Mhm.
you can't award the bid.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so whatever's recovered from the insurance
Set-
area
either
would
pay down
would
the debt-
offset the,
Or offset it.
all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you would get borrowing authorization for the full amount, and then you just don't have to borrow the full amount. But it's safe to get the authorization for the full amount of the cost,
Makes sense.
so.
All right.
The only other thing, Kenny, and I know John left, but it may because some people might be saying, oh gosh, one bid. You know, the engineer estimation was $340,000, yet the bid came at $204. So,
That's a good
even,
point.
even though there's only one bid, they come recommended. It's their specialty working on wastewater treatment plants, and they came in at, two-thirds of what the engineer department thought of. So, there's some, grace or solvents there to,
Yeah, I think,
I'm not as worried that there's actually, turn the page, I'll show you if you're looking for it.
yeah. I think that 8 went out.
Eight went out, and
bids
yeah,
went
right
out.
here. This was the estimate, and this is what it came in
What
at.
it came in at. So it came in significantly lower than what the estimated cost was.
Yeah, and they're highly recommended, they're qualified, so, there should be some ease in accepting, even though it's one bid. That's how I look at it.
All right, yeah, no, good point, John, thank you. Okay, Mary Ann, consider request to attend the GFOA seminar, April 5th through April 8th, 2016. The town controller, the senior account clerk, and the town supervisor. This is in Albany, New York. This is a conference that, if I may, this is a conference that Mary Ann and I had been attending pretty regularly every year, and we didn't go last year. We skipped last year, we didn't attend, so I did recommend to you and suggest to you that we should probably attend this year since we hadn't gone last year. So if you want to just go over
Right,
the agenda.
yep. Yeah, the conference is actually Thursday and Friday, actually Wednesday night, Thursday and Friday. But the pre-conference is Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm requesting permission to go to the pre-conference. The topics that are covered are fundamentals of accounting and financial reporting in the public sector. I haven't been to that in a couple of years. I think I went back in 2011 or 12, and it is a long day, but you get a lot of information out of it. So I'm requesting myself to go to that. And then I'm requesting Michelle Tenafrancia and the supervisor to attend the conference as well. And some of the topics that are discussed in the conference, they touch on the pension and OPEB reporting, the state retirement updates, best practices in budgeting, avoiding common financial statement deficiencies, the rating agency, which is Moody's, are all up there. They, they all have booths up there, so we do a lot of PR and practical tips for speeding up the year-end process. So those are just a couple of things that are, discussed in certain sessions. There's concurrent sessions that we kind of break up and go to. So I think it is a pretty, it's a worthwhile conference to attend.
Yeah,
So.
it is, Mary Ann. It's very educational, and the networking that goes on up
The
there as
networking
well.
is, yeah.
And the
Yep.
sharing of ideas. So you'd be surprised when you're speaking with other elected officials and
Right.
appointed officials from different towns throughout the state, the useful information that you can get from them is,
Yeah, and there's vendor booths up there
Very
that
worthwhile.
you discuss with,
yeah,
as well, so.
yeah. I think it's good to go to, and as I said, we didn't go last year, so I think maybe we should probably attend this year as well. Board members have any questions or comments with respect to the GFOA conference, and myself, Mary Ann, and the principal account clerks, the senior account clerk attending? Okay. We'll learn,
Okay,
and we'll bring it back.
and number,
We expect a lesson from you.
Okay. I will have it.
Take copious notes.
All right, number 5, also the town controller considered a 2016 PenFlex service fee agreement. This is the LoSAP, the Length of Service Award Program for the volunteer fire departments.
PenFlex is the company that we hire to oversee our LoSAP programs, the Length of Service Award programs with the 3 fire departments. The annual fee for the Fire Protection District Number 1 is $6,000, which is an increase of $100 from last year. In Fire Protection District Number 2, the fee is $6,700 to PenFlex, also a $100 increase. And then in Carmel Fire Protection District Number 3, the cost is $5,400, also an increase of $100 from last year. So they do a great job. PenFlex does, overseeing the Length of Service Award programs. They provide us with reports, and they work with the volunteer firemen to, get them the LoSAP, to update the points, and they work with them. They're very efficient with that, so I recommend approving this.
Okay. For those of you who aren't aware of what PenFlex is and the Local Service Award Program, it's for the local volunteer fire departments. This was designed and created years ago to retain membership, but also attract new members. Essentially what it is, it's a retirement benefit, it's a pension plan. So when they reach a certain age, I believe it's 64, they would be entitled to a monthly compensation benefit. I believe that, unless it's changed, they can max out at about $400 a month that the volunteer fire department, if they make their points for, let's say, over a period of 20 years, and of continuous service, they would be entitled to, at the end of that term, to apply for a retirement benefit. And once again, it's to retain the current memberships. They believe it's an incentive, and I agree with them. I think it is a good incentive that that the firemen, after a certain period of time and they reach a certain age of retirement, that they would get a small benefit. It's not a lot, but it does help with in retirement for the firemen. So I think it's good, and I think it's good that the town continues to provide the local volunteer fire departments with this benefit program. Okay, anybody want to add to that? Frank, John? All right, did you have anything else with that, Mary Ann, with PenFlex?
That's it.
Okay, all right, super,
Okay.
great. All right,
Thank you.
thanks, Mary Ann. Were you able to access that office?
No, not yet.
Oh, no? Okay. All right, stick around.
Michelle, did you show? Is it okay? Yeah.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is actually 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Our Police Chief, Mike Kazari. He's with us now. Chief, welcome.
Evening.
Evening. Thanks for being here, Chief.
Thank
So, number 6 is to consider scheduling a public hearing on a proposed local law to amend to the Town of Carmel Vehicle and Traffic Law. So let's cover that one first.
Yeah, sure. So we have an issue with vehicles parking Kings Ridge Road in the cul-de-sac. It's an issue for the buses is where the complaint came from. Every year we get complaints from the Highway Department that the plows can't make it through the cul-de-sac. We've gone out and asked the people to move the cars in those instances, but now that the school district complained about the buses not being able to go around, I went out and took a look, and it is a problem for the buses, the plows, and maybe even the fire truck if one of the houses is on fire. So I spoke to the highway superintendent, Mike Simone. He agreed that we should at least bring it to the board's attention and ask you to make it more restrictions in that cul-de-sac for no parking, not just from November to April, for the whole year. And so yes, that's what we're requesting from you. And of course, we would have to go out and check that and enforce it, or else the parking signs are not, the no parking signs aren't going to have any effect.
Right. And I see that, as you said, the highway superintendent concurs with your assessment of it and recommends that we do amend the vehicle and traffic law to create no parking. Is it just in the cul-de-sac, or how?
The problem is the cul-de-sac, I guess with the way that it's not really big enough for if the cars are parked.
The buses can't
perpendicular.
swing
The
around
buses can't swing
without
around.
backing up, and they have a policy that they don't back up.
Turning
Buses
radius.
don't. The turning radius isn't wide enough. Good.
That's why
And
we
Mike,
pay 'em.
is that why the students are dropped off at Kings Ridge Road by Emerald Lane there, by Prince?
That's what the school is
Exactly
saying,
why they're-
that they can't make it up with the buses, yeah.
So the parents go down to meet the buses for the students because of that. So.
That's what I'm told, yes.
So once we post it and
We enforce
we
it.
enforce it, that if the cars are still there and they're parking in the cul-de-sac, they're subject to a summons.
Yeah, because currently it's only until 9 AM, 6 PM to 9 AM in the winter, which would be good. The highway superintendent also agrees with me that it should be 24 hours. It shouldn't be, a window, but
Yeah.
that's for another
Yeah,
discussion.
I have no problem with that. Let's do it. Yeah, this way we can get those students back up. Let the bus go up to the cul-de-sac.
And God forbid there's a fire.
Right, exactly. That's another issue. I agree. All right. Board members have any questions, comments with respect to amending the vehicle and traffic law for Kings Ridge Road? No problem. Okay. All right, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Greg, you'll,
You have to do notice of public hearing
Yeah.
for the amendment of the local law, and that'll probably be, probably February 17th by the time we have it done.
is it a 10-day notice?
No, you can do 5, but you're not going to pass it till the 3rd.
Okay,
Okay, if you get it in, you can have it by the 17th, and then you can consider it that night.
okay. All right, so it'll be on, Mike, just for your notes, it'll be on for the 17th?
Public hearing. Yes,
Public,
sir.
yeah. Is that when I'm sorry, Greg, that's when the public hearing will be?
Right. You'll notice a public hearing next week for the 17th.
For the 17th?
And then you can conduct it then, and if you can have it that night, you can close that night, you can keep it open,
Okay,
up to you, depending on how it goes that evening.
all right, okay, thank you. All right, next, number 7, consider proposal for the purchase of ammunition for the Town of Carmel Police Department?
Yeah, so this is an opportunity to utilize 2015 funds to pay for the ammunition that we had purchased. If you recall, we were asking the year, almost a year before to get the ammunition because we had to wait so long for it to come. And it was brought to my attention by our wonderful controller that we had enough to pay for it from some excess funds, which will help us going forward, and paying for the ammunition in the year that we're purchasing it, not asking for next year's money.
Did we take delivery of it already?
Yes, we just received it at the end of this year,
Okay.
the end of 15.
Okay, and this is going to be encumbered from 2015 funds, Marianne? Okay. All right. Mike, is this something that you anticipate that this is going to be an annual? You're going to order it at a certain time, this way it's delivered and you'll have it?
That's what we've been doing that. I will come September or August and ask permission to purchase the ammunition, which we had done in 14, but in 15, September came and went, and I never made it up
Yeah.
here.
And if I recall, I think Chief Johnson was also ordering it around the same time, September, October, to have it for
Yes, sir.
your predecessor. So, all right. Sounds good. Any questions or comments with respect to the ordering of the ammunition and encumbering out of 2015 funds? John? Frank, anything?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
We budgeted for 16 also, correct?
Well, that's the wonderful thing about utilizing this is now I'm not asking for 17 money. We can use the money we have.
Yeah, we bought some time, but yeah, but it's still, when you come in September, October for 16, it still is budgeted. But yeah, perfect. Very good.
Yeah, this is going to work out much better, apparently, when you do the books.
Yep. Who does the books?
Okay, all right, next item, number 8. This is to consider a proposal for counseling and outreach training for the Town of Carmel Police Department. Board, you have the chief's backup with you, but Mike, you want to just go over what you're requesting?
Yes, so this is an opportunity to enter into an agreement with Lower Hudson Valley Building Construction Trades, EAP, for consulting and counseling services. It's going to be $8,000 a year. What we get for that is they'll help us write a comprehensive policy and procedure. We'll get training in recognizing the risk factors and the problems. The kinds of things that go on if they're not treated, they could, lead to much bigger problems. It'll be for the sergeants and hopefully the lieutenants and the chief, and it will serve us well. It helps them cope with problems. You know Mike Pop, because we used to get that service for free years ago when Walter was here. We've called upon him, or I've called upon him several times now for some different issues, and it's the things that we see at work. The men and women come into contact with tragedy. It's good if they had, someone to talk to, and there's also things that go on at home, stressors that, that you and I don't see, but, perhaps we'll see that and, head off a problem before it comes to a head and we have a problem. So that's what I'm looking for. I know that Mike Pop would come in and meet with the board and discuss this townwide, whatever you wanted to talk with him. He's a doctor and he's a great guy.
Yeah, I'd like to meet with him, and I think the board would like to meet with him as well. I don't want to speak for the board members, but I'd like to, this is good, and it benefits the members of the police department, but if we can expand that to include perhaps all employees of the town of Carmel.
It's definitely a need for it. It's just,
Yeah.
I was just focusing on my own needs.
Yeah, yep, but if we can expand that to cover all of our staffing as well, because, we hope we never need his services, but if you do, it's good to have him there.
Can you get a proposal, Chief, to see if he can,
Yeah, and I'll ask him to set up something with Ms. Pasquarello
I'd like to
about
meet with him.
going to see the board and discuss it, and he can,
He can-
guys, I would imagine there's a broad range of pricing depending on what you want, so, you're not looking for maybe the same package for everybody.
Right.
Yep.
So essentially what this is employee assistance services. And he outlines in here some of the services that he provides: crisis counseling for a member and dependents until appropriate referral or helping agency should be made. Pre-diagnostic assessment to determine type of referral necessary, referral to appropriate facility or helping agency, back to work interviews and assessments if requested and appropriate of the particular circumstance, follow up on each case to determine the rate of success, rehabilitation, and further needs. I'm just reading some of the items that are listed here that the scope of his services are.
Yeah, and that's what I've used them for in the
Yeah.
past, is the back-to-work interview,
Yeah.
like we had the loss of some of the members, their child, and it's, it's important that we know that their heads are right, because they're carrying
Yeah.
weapons and
Absolutely.
dealing with crisis, and we
Yeah.
don't want them
No, I
to
think
not be
it's
able to
good, Mike.
handle it.
I think it's something that we should have in place.
Yeah, I'll set something up with him, have him contact you.
Contact Ann,
Yep, yes, sir.
have him contact Ann, and Ann will coordinate setting up a meeting with the board,
Yep.
okay? All right, Mike, thanks for bringing this forward. All right. Next, number 8, consider I'm sorry, we covered 8. Number 9 is to consider request to purchase two new marked police vehicles.
Yes, so we had budgeted for, in 2016, adding 2 more all-wheel drive vehicles. That would raise us up to having 5 all-wheel drive vehicles in the fleet for snow emergencies, for bad weather. Together, the 2 cars comes out to be $74,401.92. That's with the lights and everything already on it. We'll have to put the striping on it, but the car will be ready to go except for the radio and the striping. And then I have another price, which I had Ann give you. I attached the 2014 bid. That's the wrong bid. So I called them and they emailed me today a updated bid for the Dodges, which is $2,000 less because we're reusing the printers and the Trax scanners. The Trax is for the tickets, the automated tickets that they write in the car. So we're reusing some of the parts, but it's $12,808.50 for the 2 cars to put the ruggedized laptop in, the mount, the Sierra wireless for the Verizon, which is the unit that we're trying to get for the mapping with the county. So that's a total of $87,210.42, and we're getting it from the Island Company, Island Tech Services. That's under state contract, and under the Oneonta County, we're piggybacking off the Oneonta County contract for the Dodges, using Robert Green. We got that from the county. That's where they get their Dodges from. So, we spoke to them, where do you get your cars? And, we're going along with their pricing. This is the best price they were getting, so.
All right, Mike, so the $74,401.92, is that going to change?
No, that may come down. It's not going to go up.
Okay.
That may come down.
And the $87,210.42, that is the new, so it's no longer $88,627.82. The new number is $87,210.42.
Yeah, that bid was for the 2014
Okay.
Fords.
Okay, got it.
But this may come down a little.
14 came down to 12,
Oh,
12.8.
It's certainly not going to be more.
12.6?
Yep.
Okay, got it. All right.
Because I know that Councilman Schneider's not here, but I was
Got it. Okay.
instructed by Councilman Schneider to make sure I have all the pieces in there, so I made sure this is the price.
And he's not even here to appreciate it.
He's not even here. What's good, though, because he would have asked about the ammunition and how much and what are you shooting a person.
We'll
So
tell him.
tell him I said $250 a person times 29.
Right, and Mike, thank you for today. Officer Brown was able to answer my questions that I had in that email.
Yes.
He was able to do that, thank you. And the cars these 2 new cars are replacing are current car 32 and 33.
Right, with about 130,000 miles.
Yeah.
Which equates, when that goes out to the detectives, then you end up giving it to another department with 167,000. So I know that's not my budget, but townwide, you're saving in your upkeep and your maintenance and repair costs because you're getting newer cars. And this is what we were trying to do, is stay 2-3 cars a year, keep the fleet both safe and reliable, the marked fleet.
Yeah.
And then it will, trickle down to the other departments, and they're getting better cars. You're not putting in as much money, which overall, it'll be a savings. We may not see it today, but it's there.
Yeah, no, and that wraps around the police vehicles when they come offline, benefit the town because our town departments use retired police vehicles.
And maybe they won't be junk when we get rid of them. Maybe
Right.
they'll actually be worth $1,000.
Yeah, no, I agree. Without really having a vehicle policy, replacement policy, this really is. If we buy 3 cars a year and we retire 3 cars or 2 or 3 of them are converted to detectives' cars, that just keeps the cycle going where we're not getting a car with 100, as you said, 160,000 miles, 170,000 miles.
Yeah.
We're getting a car with 110 or 115, which will last us 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It outlived its life as a patrol car, but it certainly can last for another 2 or 3 years for the uses that we have.
Yeah,
So I think
it is
works
a good
well.
fleet, and it is a good fleet policy, and that's what we've been trying to do.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And I think not only for the PD, I think there will be, at some point, we've begun the research of adopting a vehicle replacement policy. I think it's good to have, not only for here, but for the highway department, for the recreation, so it's good to have.
Like you did with the computers. No, it's
Exactly.
It's good
So
to
it's
have a
smart.
5-year plan and not just
Yep.
fly by the seat of our pants.
Okay, all right.
Mike,
I'm all right with this, and
I
it's,
just have one quick question. The color?
Oh, God.
White. Did you see the white cards down there? There's one down there already.
With the ghost riding?
with the ghost,
No, no,
no, I
no.
don't think this goes.
Can we
that
put
one.
that to a vote?
But we'll see if somebody gets another job, then we'll go black and white.
I like the ghost riding. The 2 cars you have are very nice, the ghost riding. You need 4 in the fleet.
And Chief, I'm not sure, you may have mentioned it, but it's good to mention it again. This is part of your operating budget. The monies were encumbered in your 2016 police budget to purchase these cars.
Yeah, the exact price is in the 2016 budget for.
Good. I just wanted, I
And
just
then the
wanted to-
equipment is in the other line.
Chief, if you don't know this because of the fleet or whatever, but by bringing these 2 all-wheel drives, how many will be all-wheel drive?
But yeah, we'll bring it up to 5 all-wheel drive, so there'll be enough
Did say
cars.
that? Okay, perfect.
There'll be
That's
enough
great.
cars to have, you don't have to put chains on them.
Yep, perfect.
It's
Yeah, it's the way to
the
go.
way to go, yeah,
It's the way to go. Yep,
yeah.
thank you.
Because it takes away the labor, because there's
Yeah.
a labor cost to putting the chains on the cars. You don't have that any longer.
Yeah, and tying up a mechanic
Tying
that
him
could be
up over
plowing
there.
or
Right,
something. Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's smart. Makes sense. All right. Okay, next item, number 9, and this is, nope, 2 more. Nope, we covered
one
that.
more.
No, I'm sorry, 10.
Other one's Carnazza.
Consider proposal to the repair of police vehicle to 2013 Caprice that was several months ago, or it could be longer than that, was involved in a motor vehicle accident. But in agreement with the insurance company, we wound up acquiring this car. And I believe that at this point, the chief is requesting to make those body repairs to it, to be able to put it back in service as one of our fleet vehicles. Or I think in this case, it's going to be either used as a detective's car or
Or an administrator's car.
an administrator's car. Yeah, makes sense. So you want to just go through that, Mike?
So, the mechanic, the town mechanic had shown us that the car is worth a lot more for parts than the $5,000 that we took that we had to give out of our settlement to keep it. I looked online on how much, because he said that it was worth it the mechanic found pricing to repair the car. Originally it was going to be $16,000 more to fix it, $16,000. The mechanic was able to find a reputable state body shop, 2 of them actually, that will do it for $9,000, and one is under $9,000, just under. So we spoke to our insurance company, and we spoke to the salvage people that would verify that the car is drivable after it's repaired. It doesn't have any frame damage, it's just all cosmetic. So, my thought is, and the mechanic also, is the car is worth $15,000 to $18,000. It only has 30,000 miles on it. It's worth it to us to keep it for parts, but it's also worth it if we want to repair it. So I'm bringing that proposal to the board. If you want to spend just under $9,000, we can repair this vehicle and have, a car that's going to last longer than I'll be here because it only has 30,000 miles on it. We'll get you get another 100,000 miles, bless you, on that car.
Yeah. No, I think
That's going to take a long time.
There's no, mechanical, the engine wasn't squished, or the radiator, or any of the hoses, or
I should have sent you the pictures again. It's the driver's door and the passenger door is crushed.
Yeah, I see all the parts.
Yeah, so it's that
Yeah.
post there that's crushed, but that is part of, according to the mechanic, that's like one piece. It's a weld across the whole side of the car. They're going to take that off and put a new one on there.
So he's gonna fix it, or
No,
one of these
he's
people
got this
are gonna fix it?
state line
The state
auto
line
body.
auto body, okay.
So I thought it made good sense. The mechanic did, but it's really up to you if you think it's good.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
In the windshield.
And Chief, you have money in your budget to cover the cost for this?
Well, Neil Brown had put $2,000 aside from last year, and then we were thinking of using the vehicle maintenance line, 45, to do the other $7,000.
Yeah, and I think, in speaking with Mary Ann today, she confirmed that the funding is available and can be utilized for this out of those lines. So, yeah, I think it makes sense, you know, rather than part it out. If we can repair it for just under $9,000, $89,5833, I think it makes sense, you know, because really, you're right. You have a car with 30,000 miles on it that's going to last we're going to get another probably 3 or 4 years out of it at least, you know, in service time on the road.
And we know its history. You're not buying a used car from somebody.
Yeah.
We know that car has been worked on by Craig.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Who's
we'll get a
been
lot
driving
more use out of it than if we were to part it out. Would there be a savings by using parts of it for the other 5 Caprices? Yeah, there
Oh, yeah.
would.
Oh, yeah.
But I think you get a greater benefit by having this car.
But that's also only if you blow an engine.
Right.
If we don't blow an engine, then we didn't save an
Right.
engine.
Right, and the trannies, from where we're buying them from Jaspers, we're getting them wholesale, so they're really not a big dollar item for the town, if a tranny went.
Yeah.
The big number's the engine, if an engine went, but I don't foresee that happening. You know, these cars are regularly maintained, the oil and filters are changed on a regular basis, they're serviced constantly. I don't see that happening. So rather than waiting to see if that occurs and that car sitting somewhere, damaged the way it is, I'd rather see the car repaired and put back in service. So it does make sense, and we have the funding for it, and I think the board will agree, right?
If we're gonna use it, if it's gonna get
Yeah.
used, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to get used,
Oh, yeah, we're going to use it every day.
no question about it, yeah. So I have no problem with that. John and Susie, you okay with going ahead and
Yeah,
authorizing?
I'm gonna talk to Mike outside of this, yeah. It's just, I just wanted to talk to you about these, that's all,
Sure. You call me or I'll wait for you, whatever you want.
yeah.
Hey, Mike, how soon can they take the car?
Just as soon as we bring it
As
over.
soon as we authorize it? Greg, this has to be done by resolution next Wednesday?
The cost falls into the purchasing policy and procurement policy, so we need a reso.
All right. So it sounds like the board's in agreement. Susie has a couple of questions she's going to ask you that you can clarify for her, but I think you got the okay to go ahead and do it.
Thank you.
Okay?
And Greg, we were going to do the tow thing. Is that like close to being, is that at a,
My guess would be on the work session, I'm gonna ask for it at the work session of the 10th of February.
Next Wednesday.
very good.
All right. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
All right.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Think about that hologram. Hologram deer man inside of the car, they
Okay. So we covered 7, 8, 9, and 10 with the chief. Mike Carnazza can't make it this evening. He won't be here. He called me earlier and said that he apologizes, but he cannot make the meeting. But this is something that we can handle. It's really not necessary that Mike be here for this. This is from Mike Carnazza, the building inspector. A resident had come into the building department and purchased 7 pages of plans for what he believed were his house. I guess he was looking to do some renovations and alterations to his home, so he wanted to take a look at the plans that were on file, in his file in the building department. So upon picking those plans up, copies of those plans, and reviewing them, he brought them home, and he realized when he got home that they weren't plans for his house. Somehow, plans for another home, this was before Mike Carnazza was here, our building inspector. These plans were put in that file, but they were the incorrect plans. So he had paid for them and brought them back to the building department. And rather than looking through all the other files trying to find where the plans for his home were, he decided that he was going to abandon whatever he was going to do to his house. He decided it wasn't worth it, and he was no longer going to pursue it. So what he's asking for is that the money, he paid $70. It was $10 a page. So he paid $70 for the plans. He returned them back to the building department. He no longer needs them. He's requesting that the town refund the money that he paid for the plans that weren't his to begin with. So because we already deposited his check, Mike couldn't just simply hand the check back to him. We deposited it, so we have to authorize a reimbursement to this gentleman for, to return his $70 back to him. So I think, I pretty much covered what Mike had on here. If anybody has any questions or comments with respect to the reimbursement for Mr. O'Hagan, you can speak up to that now. But
No, I mean, he's definitely entitled to his reimbursement. I just don't understand how plans for another house got copied 7 times and it wasn't his house.
I happen to agree with you. I'm not sure why, but they made the copies of them, but he didn't actually review them in the building department. He took them home with him. So Mike just went in the file and pulled out the plans that were in there, and they just made copies of them and turned them over to Mr. O'Hagan, and he walked out with them. So he didn't review them while he was here. If he had reviewed them in the building department, he would have realized that they weren't for his house.
Maybe the policy upstairs should be, before we make copies, make sure this is your plan.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. I agree with you.
I mean,
Yeah, but this probably happened back
it's
in...
not his fault.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it
Yeah.
was a waste of time.
Somehow they got into his file, and who knows when that occurred. The house was built in the 60s, so, somehow they got in there, but... And Mike actually did, when he brought the plans back, Mike did confirm that they were inaccurate, that they were the wrong plans. So the guy should have his money refunded to him. I agree. So, all right, we'll do that. Greg, we'll have a resolution for that next Wednesday as well?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, 12. Harold here?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 12, Harold Gary, Chairman of the Town of Carmel Planning Board, with Pat Cleary, the Town of Carmel Planning Consultant. And the rest of the planning board is here as well. Thank you, everybody. I guess your meeting ended, it sounds like. Okay. All right, Harold, Pat, could you join us over at that table over there?
Showing solidarity tonight.
We brought everybody. Good. That's awesome. I'd like to see that.
I feel threatened.
Yeah, right.
All right, this is to consider a proposal for architectural design consultant services for the Town of Carmel Planning Board. We met a few days ago with the gentleman from the architectural firm that will be the architectural consultant. That will be, if it's approved, which seems to me that sounds like that's the way we're going, because I was impressed and confident that I think the gentleman that we met the other day will provide the services that we need for the planning board. So I'm going to turn it over to Harold and Pat. So if you just want to pick up on that and explain why we're doing this, and if you want to speak a little bit about the interview and how that went.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'll let Pat do the explanation and explaining, but I just want to thank the board, each one of you, for granting us this, the privilege to have someone like that on the board, which is going to be so vital to us to try to make our town better as we make decisions to the things that come before the board. I just want to thank you, and I asked Pat what he explained about this architect.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. So thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So as you know, last year you disbanded the Architectural Board, assigned those duties to the Planning Board. We spent a number of meetings trying to figure out how to discharge those duties, and it was challenging. So that's when you had the request from our board to see if we can retain an additional consultant to help us deal with those duties. Staff went and spent a good deal of time trying to find architects who didn't have conflicts in the community, but were technically capable to provide the services that we needed. And we found a group of 6 or 8 architects. There you go, Rich's fingers have the numbers right there. And we sent out an RFP, as you're aware, to those architects. We received 2 responses, one of which was a response saying that I've moved out of the area and I'm no longer interested. So we had 1 response that was interested in the position. Again, remember, these were pre-selected architects, so they all met these minimum requirements. We had the opportunity, as the supervisor indicated yesterday, in fact, to meet with the individual. His name is Vincent Franz. You may know him. He's a local person. He grew up in town, graduated from APAC High School. His parents still live here. He was a principal of a small architectural firm in the area for a number of years and had periodic applications that came before the board, and he worked throughout the area. About a year ago, his firm merged with a firm in Elmsford by the name of Warschauer, Malusi Warschauer. They're a very large architectural firm. They do very large projects throughout the region, very well respected. So what we were lucky to stumble upon is a local guy who has a strong affiliation with a full-service architectural firm. So he has the ability to draw on all of the services that we would ever need from a full-service architectural firm. We met with him for about an hour or so yesterday. He's a very intelligent guy. He understands the community, very well spoken. He's a professional. He understands his craft very well. And I think all of us that were in that meeting, the supervisor, Harold and I, Rich and Mike, and Kim also. Kim has spent a lot of time dealing with this as well from the planning board. All, I think, left that meeting with a very favorable impression of his capabilities. So we have a very strong recommendation that he's the man to do the job for us. If you're so inclined, you have his credentials and his qualifications and his, all of the information you might need to retain his services. And I think we would be well served by retaining Mr. Franz.
I'd just like to say one other thing. And when I walked back in for the interview, I says, I know that fellow from 20 years ago. We worked together in Westchester County in the construction buildings. And a great firm. The firm that he's associated with now is a great firm, and he was a great architect in the Westchester County, especially in the Katona, Mount Kisco area. I think we are very fortunate to have his service, and thank you for considering it.
Okay. All right.
I'm just gonna be like a little stickler here, sorry. When was the meeting? Because I would have liked to been invited to it since I am the liaison to this board.
It was yesterday. It was yesterday
I
afternoon.
wasn't informed of it. I would have liked to meet him. You know, that's part of being a liaison to the boards is to be,
I'm sure we still can if you know, for, you know, half-hour meet and greet, you know, either here or executive session with the town board. You know, reading his credentials, I do feel similar to Susie. It would have been nice to know, but it doesn't stop or change anything. I do think we found an asset, and so if we could just meet with him, great, and then we move forward.
yeah. I just, are you gonna continue like with the rates and stuff or no? Because I just had some questions.
No, we're
Yeah, so it's going to be the rate that he said, the 6,000 for the year, but, no?
No, it's here, Sue. The rates are in the, his rate would be, he's the project architect. and his
So
rate-
that's what, is this like
Yeah.
appendix 2?
Yes.
Because that's what I got to, because I saw
Yeah.
6,000 up here, but, yeah, compensation, not to, so, okay.
And some of the cost for his services are gonna be borne by the applicant.
So
The
we
money,
have-
there'll be escrowed funds.
Susie, so
Yeah.
we have the ability, like we do for all technical experts, to pass his costs through directly to applicants. So in a
Okay.
case where, like, for example, we have a fairly extensive application for the new Stop and Shop application, where
Right.
they're doing the entire supermarket, we need a lot of help. So
Yep.
that applicant would be posting escrow so that we can use as much of his services without limitation as we need to get the job done, and no cost to the town.
Okay.
We did,
No, I mean, I'm all for it, because I met with Harold a few years ago regarding this, that there was a need for it. And it's not gonna be used for, from what I understand, it's not gonna be used for everybody, it's just for, I don't wanna say problem, but the more
Certain-
extensive.
certain site plan
the-
applications.
The more extensive.
Where it's needed.
Now,
Yeah.
does an applicant, just so the applicant would know, like, how would it go about? Like, just walk it through, kind of, so the public can know about, you know?
So there's two sides to these applications. So number one, the reason we have a budget for his services is, as you know, Susie, a lot of applicants come in for pre-submission conferences, and sometimes those never turn into applications. But they meet with us, they meet with staff, they have proposals, and we have to give them feedback.
Yep,
A lot of that now will involve architectural input as well. So that may never turn into a real application, so we have a budget for his services in that
yes,
case. Now an applicant decides they want to formally submit an application. They'll submit the application, it'll come to Harold and the board, and the board will make the decision if it needs its architectural consultant for that particular application. If so, Mr. Franz will give us a budget and say, I can support this application, it'll be X dollars. If it is an amount that requires the establishment of an escrow account, we'll do that. We have the administrative process in place to do that for any application. We'll replenish the escrow account, and he'll discharge his duties.
yep, all right.
So it's, and it will be, but it's always the board's decision to bring him on to support us.
Okay, something, this procedure was in effect years and years ago, if I'm not
Sure.
mistaken, correct?
It's procedure
Oh,
that,
escrow.
Overall escrow.
Oh, overall, okay.
Right.
All right, yeah. No, I mean, I'm here to help you guys, because I know that there's gonna be some, hopefully some, nice commercial development coming in. So, I just wanna make sure that the people know, so they're not blindsided when they come in. You know, so Rich and, you know, Mike, and you
Just to
guys
give you
can
an
tell them.
aside, Susie, what's happening now is we have applicants that are before the board and know that the board is wrestling with this. Every applicant that we have sort of talked to about this issue, they have been very, very supportive of the town doing this.
Great,
So far, we've not encountered anybody who's
Good.
problematic at all. They believe, because I think they think they'll get through the process quicker with a better product at the end of the day.
right, yeah. It's not gonna be a waste of time for them. Yep.
Susan, 90% of the people will never see this architect.
Right,
And that's vague. It could be more percentage than never see him whatsoever.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was more like, I understood, I just wanted the people out there to hear, because it's new for them. Now, will we have to change any of the application forms, or no?
Not yet, but
Okay.
this may evolve into the development design guidelines and so forth, and
Okay.
different procedures. But at the moment, we're going to continue to discharge the duties of the architectural board that you assign to the planning board.
Correct.
So I think so far, but it's a process. We'll figure it out as we move along. We may have to make adjustments. We'll make the adjustments.
And it's nice that he's from around here, so he knows,
A sensitivity for the town. And
Yes.
that's what I think we heard from him when
Yeah.
we chatted with him. So you should talk to him too, Susie. I think you'll get the same
yeah,
feeling.
I'd like to meet with him. Good, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Frank? No? Okay. All right. Gentlemen, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Vice.
Thanks, Harold.
Thanks to the board.
All right, you're welcome. All right, that completes the agenda items for tonight's Town Board work session. At this time, good night, gentlemen, ladies, thanks for being here. Good night. Yep, you're welcome. Take care. Thank you. Yep, great support. Take care, Dave. Okay, is there any members of the public that are here with us this evening that would like to come up and comment on agenda items at this time? Just the agenda items that we covered? Mike?
On the executive session with Ms. Maxwell, contractual retention, is that an employee of the town that had to go into an executive session?
The contractual retention, that was...
Earlier.
Yeah. That was discussions with respect to a auditing firm
Okay,
that we are considering bringing on board to
Okay.
assist us with the internal audits.
and you're going back on the last one, executive session after this meeting. Who's Endeavor Municipal Development, Inc.?
That's a grant writer.
Excuse me?
That's a gentleman that we're bringing in to interview tonight to be considered as a town grant writer.
Okay.
We budgeted monies in the 2016 budget for a professional grant writer.
Okay.
And this is a gentleman we're interviewing tonight to consider for that position.
Thank you very
To assist
much.
us with grants. Thank you. Because evidently, from what we've been told, there is grant monies that are out there that are available, both federal and state. It's just you have to be familiar with those and know how to apply for them in order to be successful. and there's monies for water and the sewer infrastructure upgrades and improvements that are out there as well, that we're going to try to get some of that money. But the only way to really get that is we have to write these grants and have somebody that's familiar with, you know, getting their hands on that money to assist us, so.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, anyone else would like to come up on agenda items only at this time? Okay, there being none, I'm going to open up the floor to anybody that has new business that they'd like to come up and discuss with the board. This is the open forum portion of the meeting, that you could come up and discuss any town-related new business that we did not cover on the agenda this evening or we didn't talk about. Must be a resident, property owner, or business owner to address the board under new business. Anyone? Okay, there being none, thank you. Thank you all for being here, attending the meeting with us. We have a couple of announcements that we're going to be making for the benefit of the public before we close. And the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Department, their 2016 winter classes have begun. If you would like further information regarding the winter programs that are available at Sycamore Park, you can call the park at 845-628-7888, and you can ask for information regarding the winter classes that are available. You can also go to the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks website at www.carmelny.org/recreation to get further information regarding the programs that may be available to town residents. These are for youth, teen, and adult classes. They have knitting, pottery and paint, dance, mechanical engineering, horseback riding, belly dancing, stretch it out, ARC babysitting course is available, ice skating lessons, and ski and snowboard club. So there's a lot that's offered. Moms and tots, preschool and mini tumbling, pee-wee classes, mad science, super science sampler, pottery and paint music, tiny dancers, edible creations, coffee and kids, little chefs, mini taekwondo, beginners fused classes, and junior mechanical engineering. So there's a variety of classes that are available to the community. If you'd like to participate, as I said, if you need further information about registration, it's Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. right over at Sycamore Park off of Long Pond Road. Just want to make sure this is done. Okay, I think that's it. All right. All right, just a reminder that during snow events, the highway superintendent has asked me to announce to the residents, please bring your garbage totes in off the curb, because if they're left out during a snow event and the snow is covering it, when the streets are being plowed, there's a chance that, you know, the can or the tote could accidentally be struck by the plow. So they're asking the community to cooperate, and please assist the highway department by bringing your totes in after the garbage company has collected your refuse for that particular week. Don't leave them out at the curb. Pull them back towards your house, your garage. This way they're out of the way. And also, when you're clearing snow from your driveways, please do not shovel or plow the snow back into the roadway that has been plowed already, because what happens then is the highway department has to go back out. So there's a cost for the labor and the equipment used in that to re-plow the road. So when you're clearing snow from your driveway, please try to clear it onto the sides of your driveway, away from the travel portion of the roadway. Plus, it's dangerous depositing the snow back into the roadway after it's been cleared as well. So please help us, help your neighbors, help the community by not pushing or plowing the snow or shoveling into the roadway during snow events. Town board have any other announcements they'd like to make? Nope. Okay, as it was stated earlier, we do have to go into executive session. So we're going to be closing the meeting from there. We're not coming back out. And the executive session is Endeavor Municipal Development. We already talked about this. We're interviewing a gentleman to consider to be the Town of Carmel grant writer to assist us with obtaining funds through federal and state grants. So I need a motion to go into executive session. So moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Good night, everyone. Be well. We'll see you here next week for a town board voting meeting. I believe the date on that is January 27th, is it? I'm sorry, February 3rd. Wow, we're through wow. January's gone already. All right, good night, everyone. See you February 3rd for a voting meeting.